Hello and welcome to Osquery Office Hours. It is September here in New England. It's still warm but cool at night. Definitely some nice fall weather. Hopefully it's nice where people are and appropriately seasonal for all your seasons around the world. Anyhow, welcome to Osquery. I know we have a couple of agenda items and maybe announcements. Anything anyone wants to announce? Okay, moving on to open questions. If there are any questions, issues, PRs people want to discuss, the intent here is a bit of an open section for people dropping in.
Not a question, but I'm excited that Stefano is looking into the new toolchain. Really happy about that. We're going to have the more up-to-date Clang toolchain and LLVM libraries for BPF. That's really nice.
Oh, so that makes a difference for BPF stuff?
Yes, we can have more primitives, more intrinsics that we can use for generating BPF code.
Cool.
Great. Anything else that we should be like anticipating or looking out for with those new changes?
So we have to ask Stefano. I'm mostly excited for the BPF things, but there are other useful features, like it should behave better with optimizations and should generate better code.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, couple of agenda items. 513.1, is it stable? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, at Fleet, we pushed it to our stable channel like 3 weeks ago or 4.
Yeah, we did the same at Collide.
Yeah, and I guess I would just say, like, we then had people be like, hey, Osquery hasn't declared this stable. Like, why'd you push it to your stable channel? And I guess it just makes me think that the testing that was going to be done was done. And it's mostly just typically you, Seth, and me, or someone from Fleet saying like, we've done it, let's go. And I guess maybe we should just try to do it sooner.
I think there was some note that maybe our office hours 2 weeks ago didn't have enough people to do much. I was out for various reasons, but I think if we'd been here, we would have declared it stable 2 weeks ago.
I see. I wonder if we should do it. Well, maybe it was just bad luck that neither of us were here. I feel like in my eyes, we don't need a quorum to declare the release stable. It's not like a TSC decision, but maybe it's because both you and I weren't here, and it's either you or I usually who's or usually both of us who's doing it. So maybe it was just bad luck with us both not being here. So maybe nothing needs to change really.
That's my hunch, is that the Osquery release process could always do with a little bit more formalization and a little bit more automation, but we never quite seem to get there because I think we're all volunteers with many things on our plates. So it sort of hits it could have been declared stable a few weeks ago, but no one stepped in and tried to make that happen. And, you know, without anyone from Collide or Fleet there to be like, yeah, it looks stable to us, we're done. You know, it maybe just fell through the cracks.
Makes sense. Okay, well, we'll do it now, which involves just like marking that tag as stable on the GitHub releases page, or do we usually do something else?
We do 2 things to mark it stable. We also trigger a job in the Osquery code signing. I'm just going over it right now.
Oh, and the website, I guess.
Yeah, I guess there are 3 things, because we also have to mark it as push it out to the production buckets. Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing that happens in the code signing repo?
Yeah. Yeah. That the thing from the code signing repo downloads it from GitHub and then uploads it into the bucket distributions.
Got it. Okay.
I'm just filling in our notes here. Okay, stable release process. I think there are currently 3 steps. It's probably toggle to stable in GitHub, run, what's the release to buckets? Release to buckets in Osquery code sign, and update website, which should be another GitHub action.
Yes, in the main repo, I think.
I can't remember.
Wait, no, it's not. It's not a GitHub action. The releasing the website is actually something that has to be done manually, I think.
There's 2 parts to it. There's one thing will make a PR. There's automation to make a PR for it.
But then the push is done
But then the
manually.
push is manual right now.
Right.
And I think that's got to be in the. Yeah, that's in the Osquery site repo too. So this is that, and then manual deploy step. Should figure out how to automate that deploy step.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard, but someone would have to do it.
I don't understand GitHub Actions very well, so I couldn't figure it out. I don't understand GitHub Pages is I think what I mean.
My top GitHub Pages, yeah. My top priority on any of that work, which I will do before the next release, is to, well, we'll talk about this in a bit, maybe next, is to integrate the new signing certificate through the Microsoft Trusted Signing.
Mm-hmm. I am currently going through the steps that I just outlined a moment ago. So I am releasing 5.13.1 to production, or to stable production. So
great, thank you.
Because while parts of it are manual, it is still reasonably automated. Okay, so we'll see how that goes too. Yeah, great. Next up, Windows code signing. I mean, first off, yay, Zach! So pretty exciting that you actually got Microsoft to issue a trust cert to us. So that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. So of course, in the end, it actually didn't take much. It was all the work was in getting the attention from the right person. Once we finally got a human looking at it and they were communicating with me through email, it was resolved in like 2 days. It just took like over a month to get them to actually communicate with me over email. And it was with the same documents that we had submitted all along. So anyway, that was annoying, but also it's done. It looks like we're approved for over 2 years. So that's good. It will cost $10 a month for up to 5,000 signing operations a month. Way more than we've ever used by like orders of magnitude, I think. But if for some reason we did want to do like nightly builds or whatever, like we would also be able to sign those. There will be, in 2 years, there will be some sort of re-verification process. It would be my hope and assumption that that's easier. Also in 2 years, presumably, like they just got this thing out of beta. So presumably in 2 years, they have a better support process than like beg for support on the public Q&A, but who knows, we'll see. And maybe they'll just accept seeing the same document. Again, also, who knows, we'll see. But anyway, we're good for 2 years. So so that's good. We right now, the Azure, so it's all under an Azure account that I created with my osquery.io email address. My intention is to invite everyone else on the TSC, which is basically, I think, everyone who has a osquery.io email address, except probably the inactive folks who, again, I do want to get back to trying to remove
Not
the inactive folks.
everyone on the TSC probably has an Osquery email address.
Okay.
They could. It just hits the like. No one's really like, only the people who've bothered to ask.
Okay, got it. So, well, my intention is to invite everyone who's active on the TSC to the Azure account. There shouldn't really be much that needs to be done on there once the changes are made on GitHub Actions. It should just work going forward. Of course, should and reality are sometimes different. So the point would be to just give some backup options for other people to be able to get into that account and address this. It's currently, the billing is hooked up to my personal credit card. I've put some budget alerts in. You can't put hard caps on budget on Azure. The product that we're using is $10 a month. The idea would be, don't do anything else in the Azure account, please, for the folks who get access to it. And at some point, I will, in theory, apply for the reimbursement, which I know you never did, Seth, or I think you never did.
Done
for
it
things that
twice.
Oh, okay. Okay. So in theory, probably at some point I would apply for reimbursement, but at $10 a month, this is quite affordable. So that's great. And then what's the other thing? Then the GitHub Actions need to be updated. There, it should still be, from my reading of the documentation, it should still be possible to use Sign Tool, which is what we use to do the signing currently. We will have to do some work to like get the right credentials in there and the configuration for using the trusted signing service. But overall, I think that that action can probably continue to work basically the way that it usually does, just with the sort of credentials added and the trusted signing extra little bits added.
Do you I suspect that Azure and GitHub Actions do the OIDC thing, so credentials may be both more difficult and easier than sharing a key.
Both are possible. The recommendation is to do OIDC. I'm not totally, so I read through the docs on this already. Not totally clear on like why it's better to do that, but they strongly recommend doing that. Either way, there are some secrets that you set.
With
That's a surprise to
OIDC?
you, Seth? Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that.
Maybe I misunderstood. I'm gonna, whenever it is that I get to this, which again will be before the next intended Osquery release, I'm gonna reread. I was surprised because I was like, I don't really get it. Like, I'm just setting secrets with different names. Like, what's the advantage here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
my feeling matches your feeling.
Yeah. There were basically 3 different ways. There were 2 different ways to do OIDC through various things. It's like classic Microsoft, like Azure craziness. It is just also an option to just put in like an API token access key ID and secret, like more classic AWS stuff. That I'm pretty sure could be scoped to like a role that only has access to the signing stuff, and then in that case, I'm not really sure that there would really be much disadvantage to it. So if there's no objection that also includes offer to help figure out how to do it in a better way, then I'll just figure out how to do it in whatever way seems best to me. Yeah. So and I will update when that's working. And then I just imagine we'll add in the release notes for that first release that Osquery now has its own signing keys for the first time ever under the Osquery name. So that's cool. I would be almost embarrassed to say that publicly, so I'd probably just say Osquery has new signing keys with the Osquery name, and leave out the for the first time ever part, even though that is actually exciting.
It might also be true that this is like one of the first times that any of the Linux Foundation 503c6s have done this. Like,
certainly the Linux Foundation people had no idea how to do it. So
yeah,
You can brag about that part. I mean, you can also say like first time as the Osquery entity or assigned as this. That's fair and accurate.
it's fair and accurate. It's just a little embarrassing to me that we didn't do it earlier.
Well, I mean,
we
if
did
you said,
Apple.
if you mentioned that, it was under an individual's certificate, that's embarrassing. But let's say it's the first one as this, Linux Foundation entity or not.
Yeah. Well, we can figure out what we want to say about it at the time we do the release.
If you want to sound fancy too, the other thing that this does is this brings us into the current recommendations for having all signing keys stored in hardware devices.
Yes, which is also the requirement now.
Yeah, but you can also spin it as like we're doing good. I mean, also, I think you do have to make an announcement. I mean, people are gonna notice and then bring it up. If it hasn't been announced, if we try to not mention it, then it might look suspicious that the signing changes.
Agree. Announcement is definitely necessary, and we if in the last two releases, or 5.12.0 and 5.12.1. No, sorry, 5.13.0 and 5.13.1. We signed with Fleet's signing keys, and we just put it in the release notes. And I was surprised that nobody asked. Either people didn't notice or people read the release notes and were satisfied by that. But somehow I expected that people would have noticed and said something, but they didn't. But we did announce it, and I will definitely announce it again. I just what exactly the contents of that announcement would be, I think we can figure out later. Anyone else have questions about this?
Thanks for running the riddle trail.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh yeah, this reminds me, I can also tell the Linux Foundation people that we're good and don't need more info.
The other maybe possible agenda item is that nominally we want to do a 5.14 release at the beginning of September. So how are folks feeling about a release?
I wondered if you guys had triaged the automated dependency CVEs. I didn't see a response on the issues in GitHub for library expat, but it thinks that there's an issue, and it sometimes is wrong, but it has like three. I think it opened 3 issues.
Hadn't gone looking.
Okay, yeah. If you look at the CVE label, just I guess we should go over those to see if we know the status before the release.
Oh, it's a good call out.
They're all in the expat library, which I don't know what that's used for. So
some expat XML parsing nonsense.
oh, okay. Well, we do XML parsing, so there's a high chance that this is a actual relevant issue.
I mean, my hunch is that if we can upgrade expat and Yara and libarchive, then it's good to do those things, even if we're not sure about the actual vulnerability here.
Yeah, and someone has been pointing out that if we upgrade AWS SDK, that library will enable, I guess, C++ 20 builds and Visual Studio 2022, or some more modern compiler, which somebody from that team actually had opened an issue saying, like, we should fix that because they're trying to get green flags in their list of popular open source that compiles with their compiler.
Yeah, I think AWS is one of the harder libraries to upgrade, but the dependency stuff is one of the areas of our code that I don't have a lot of familiarity with.
Yeah, I think we do rely on stuff I know a lot. I updated a few once, so I went through that process, but it's been a while. Like the actual updating of the dependency is not too difficult, but I think sometimes, like in this case for AWS SDK, someone has to update the tool chain. I think that's the hard part, the Osquery tool chain.
Yeah, I think the AWS one's hard, but if you want to try expat, Yara, and libarchive, those ones may be low-hanging.
Well, I won't self-assign. I can't really commit to that right now, but I'll take a look at those.
Okay. I do know there are a whole variety of PRs. I went through and approved all the ones that looked really simple and reasonable to me, but I didn't merge them in case someone else wants to read any of them. Often I just approve them and assume someone else will take a quick look at them and then merge them, but if that doesn't happen, I'll merge them in a few days or something.
If you approved but haven't hit the approve button for Alessandra's block devices table refactor, I'll post a link here again. I think it got discussed a couple of weeks ago, but the consensus was, yeah, it's all right, but then it didn't move.
I'll try and review that today.
Okay. It's not urgent, just one of those things I thought I'd help push on.
I will try and review it today. I think Stefano
Awesome.
has a refactor, but it's still in draft. So
Yeah, that's on the read file API, so it's something separate.
And I feel like we just have a bunch of little kind of dependency tweaks from people. The lib audit one, 8401, I wasn't sure how to review. Yeah.
I saw that you were asking me to look at the Windows PR, but it's been approved. You want me to still look at that?
Which one?
To be honest, I don't recall. You did tag me though.
Let's see if I can.
Oh, fix for Windows crashes, missing information on user memory dumps. That's the one.
Yeah, I approved that because like the code looks okay to me. I didn't see anything wrong, but I don't have the context to really know if it's like doing the right thing. So if you have enough Windows context, because I know you've done some Windows in the past, if you can eyeball it and be like, yeah, this looks legit.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it then if you still like me to look at that.
Yeah, if you're up for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the code looked okay. I just don't understand the underlying intent, or sort of like I don't have a big picture of Windows, so I'm like, I don't know. Is this legit? What do I know?
Yeah, I like to usually check out the PR and run it just to see if it doesn't issue any new warnings it didn't before, that kind of thing.
Yeah, as I said, I sort of went through and just approved a bunch of stuff that looked small to me. I'll take another pass today too, and sort of try and get stuff in shape. But okay, it sounds like we're probably not going to cut a 514. Yeah, we're not going to cut a 514 in early September because it sounds like we want to get a couple more of those security things in, maybe see if we can at least evaluate the CVEs.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I mean, I think it's fine if we decide to defer a release. It's just kind of a thing. I'll go adjust some milestones. Maybe we can target October instead.
I mean, these dependencies shouldn't be that entailed, but yeah, I mean, I like to be optimistic.
Well, it's like here we are in office hours. When's the next office hours? Roughly October.
Oh, yeah.
End of September.
Yeah, October. But partly, I think one of the things Mike always used to hammer on a little bit was that we should just be better about setting expectations. So I think we still have a long way to go on our releases, but maybe we get a little better each time. I always think about what would it be like to just automate more of it and just cut a new release at the start of every month or something, start of every other month. But
a rolling release.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that
basically
reminds me that I saw that question in the Slack. Someone's like, "Well, what versions of Windows are supported?" And that is like that implies a lot of other questions, like what does support mean? I don't know, and open source, and how much are we testing in any kind of way when there's so many variations of Windows? There's probably 24 that are still in active support.
Yeah.
The answer is like, well, we have this automated test suite and it ran. And other than that, we don't have too many promises we can make. But we know we cut off, we deprecated for sure things older than this level. But I think even that we don't really have publicly posted. So I had been thinking about that as well.
Yeah, I saw that issue. I think there's one of the things I think about in Collide and in the Osquery context is there's like, do we think the app works? Right? Will Osquery run? And then there's a different question of, is all the data correct? And you can't test all the data points. So I don't know how to approach that.
Well, I mean, we have a pretty impossible testing matrix of every OS between the last 10 years. So I think it's okay to qualify our statements around it somewhat. But yeah, when if as someone asked me off the top of my head, I don't remember if like we cut off Windows 8 or not, or if it would run, or if it wouldn't install, or if it would give a warning, or so I don't know. And like I'd have to go back and try it myself to know.
I mean, my usual answer in a sort of unofficial capacity tends to be like, I don't know, try it. Or we support as much as we can, and but those are cop outs in a sense.
Well, we do bend over backwards to keep pretty old versions of Mac OS. Targeting 10.15 now, I think still, or maybe it's 11. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone want to talk about anything else?
Stefano said he would be 30 minutes late. Do we want to move this office hours in any way? Because he's kind of important, but he can't make it to any of these meetings apparently.
I'm fine with moving it.
I'm game for moving it. I agree. Stefano's pretty important.
Agree.
Do you
I would like
have a,
him to be here.
Do you have a sense of how is this a commitment that will go away in 3 months, or is this a commitment that will stick around for a long time?
There's a conflict with the meetings from his current projects, and that is the problem, I think.
Yeah, but like, how often does that get shuffled around?
I think it is there to stay, at least for now.
Okay, so we think we should push this forward by 30 minutes.
Sorry, I was looking at how long that meeting is. Yeah, I think so. If you want to be safe, an hour. Otherwise, half an hour may suffice.
Either's fine with me.
I'm thinking
An
about
hour.
it.
It might be hard for Charville.
An hour might bump into stuff for me too, around like the end of the school day and children. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
but I think I can definitely do half an hour.
Yeah. Okay. I'll double check with him. That, or we can do it earlier, like maybe half an hour earlier.
Could do that.
That's
Yeah,
also
really.
fine with me.
Why don't
Just
we?
West Coast people that would have to be asked, right? I think it's still in a reasonable time.
Yeah. So after 9 a.m. West Coast seems reasonable to me.
Why don't we take this discussion to Slack so Stefano can be part of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Good idea.
But it sounds like there's general support for moving it around, so we should just figure out quite how to move it.
Yeah.
Okay, I will start a Slack thread in Core. And anyone want to talk about anything else, or shall we call it for today? Sounds
We
like
can
we
call
should.
it.
Thank you all. Talk to you online and in a few weeks.
Sweet. Thanks, Al. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.